Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here at the top of the show, we're recording on a Sunday night. Now, this is going to be our last record for a while. However, let me tell you, No Name Music Cast listeners, service will not be interrupted. We have got lots of episodes we've recorded for you, and we're probably not going to be recording for the next 3 or 4 weeks or so. But you will always have a fresh and crispy No Name Musiccast episode every single week.
I mean, that's talent for us. We worked really hard to make that happen. We did 2 a week, 3 a week. I don't know, whatever the football people say or something.
That's something I know nothing about.
Well, when I was in in musicals, we would call it Hell Week, where you were just going, you know what I mean, multiple days a week. So, I mean, I guess it's not dissimilar. Me and Tim did whatever the No Name Music Cast version of that is. And with that being said, I will start it off because it is not my episode. So I will give you guys my little bit of music news, and then I will let Tim take it from there. But there is a pretty big, and it doesn't matter if you care for Taylor Swift, but this is very interesting as far as music and artists owning their talent, their craft, whatever you want to call it, or just the rights to their own things. So for those who don't know, for some back history, in 2019, Taylor Swift's former label, Big Machine Records, sold the master recordings of her early albums to music executive Scooter Braun without offering her the opportunity to purchase them. She never had any say in this. Braun later sold these masters to Shamrock Capital. In response, Swift began re-recording her own album under the Taylor's version, and then labeled to reclaim control over her music. So the reason this is so big is what was happening is, and I mean, anyone who's around the music industry, and you can even look at what happened to Britney Spears, is these producers take your song and they make it into what they think will sell. And she didn't necessarily agree with all the artistic choices that were happening, right? Mm-hmm. And so she recorded later, if you've ever seen someone say this is Taylor's version, it's what her as an artist wanted. Whether you like her, you hate her, whatever, she is someone who writes her own music, produces her own songs, and has been, in the industry for long enough now that she knows her stuff. And she's been selling out concerts, so take it for what it is. But anyway, on May 30th, which is a few days ago, for those who will be hearing this in like 6 weeks, might seem weird, but Swift announced that she had bought back the master copies of her recordings for her first 6 albums from Shamrock Capital for approximately $360 million. This acquisition includes all associated materials such as music, videos, concert films, and unreleased song. So why does this matter, Tim? Why does it matter? Well, artist empowerment. Swift's moves underscores the importance of artists owning their own work, especially when you wrote the songs. I really do think that makes a difference. Industry impact. Her actions are prompted for artists to have these conversations and to seek ownership of their own masters and fan support. If you've ever known a Swiftie, they have been able to aid this goal for a long time. There's my best friend is a Swiftie, and she has Taylor's version on the back of her car for a reason. But I just think this is very important because I think it's going to have a broader influence on artists and artists' ability to own their own music and or possibly control what happens in these situations.
Now, the question I have for you, was she awarded that right by a court, or did she just buy it out?
She bought it out.
Okay.
She's been saving the money and bought it herself. I mean, Shamrock Capital, $360 million was enough for them.
Yep.
And there is a lot. So if you know artists like Kesha or other artists who have struggled with producers, not this specific, Scooter Braun is not the one. It's Luke, whatever his name is. But Kesha's had issues with him. And I've seen a few other people. And with Kesha's a very interesting artist. When you look at her on the surface, Tim, she sounds like a very early 2000s pop artist that you could care less about, right? I'm just going to
Hmm.
tell you for what it is. She's wrote music for every major artist out there. Historically, she has a great voice, but because she was working under a producer who made her into a very certain thing that had to be sold, you never really saw that. When she started producing her own music in her own right, it had a very different sound. It had, you could hear her vocals, you could hear the ministry. And what's really interesting to me, and I've said this many times on this podcast, I think the ultimate test for someone who's a good musician is being able to write music. And she, if you go look back, she is literally one of those people, Tim, that you've seen behind the scenes with joked about Prince and other people like that,
Hmm.
wrote thousands of songs for other artists. But she claims that she was being held under and a record executive who wanted a certain sound for her.
Okay.
It's a tale as old as time, right? I mean, Brittany had the same problem.
Yes.
So very happy for Taylor, and hopefully this will help these producers think before they act in the future.
There we are. Well, I mean, I'm glad that Taylor Swift has got all these rights back. But I mean, I will say one thing is that I think it's just because of her success, the fact that she has the capital to do it. I think there'll be a lot of artists out there who are in a similar position who don't have the capital in order to buy that out.
Absolutely. But it is worth saying that at least she has worked hard for this and she's been talking about it. She's advocating for those people from what I've gathered. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not even really a Taylor Swift fan. I'm just going to say it. Like, I'm not. I don't listen to her music regularly. But I do appreciate her as a person and going through this for other people who are in the same predicament.
Absolutely. I'm not a Swiftie because I don't think I've ever actually heard any Taylor Swift music.
I have, and it's just not for me personally. There's a few songs I like, if that makes sense, Tim, but like nothing about it gets me like uber pumped. So,
Yes,
but that doesn't mean that you can't. And if you're a Swiftie, me and Tim, do what you want. We've said many times, you like what you like, and you can't change that.
absolutely. 100%.
All right. With that being said, Tim, where would you like to take it from here?
Okay, so I've got some music news.
Music news.
Now, I thought you'd like to hear about this music news, Joy.
Okay.
This is Paul Young.
So, if you listened to last week's episode, I thought he was dead. He's not dead. That was embarrassing. And then I sent Tim a screenshot as I went to bed because his song comes on my playlist, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, you're not dead, but your music's really good."
Yeah, well, anyway, I thought I'd just give a quick update in the world of Paul Young. So, Paul Young is alive and well. And he's just about to wrap up a 2025 tour called From No Parlays to the Secret of Association, which are two of his sort of bookends of his famous albums that he's had out. And he's been doing like a theater tour where he's been doing like questions and answers and recounting stories throughout his career. He's been with Jamie Moses, who's been his longtime guitar player, and then they sing some songs. And then, it's like an audience with Paul Young type thing.
Yeah.
It's just about to wrap up. It'll wrap up on Sunday, the 8th of June. I think they actually played in Richmond Theatre, which is actually near to where I used to live. And it was apparently very successful. And, a number of dates that he's been doing. He started this tour in April and he's wrapping it up in June. So, very successful for Paul Young. He's vibrant. He's alive.
And he's not a zombie on stage.
Yeah, he's out there and people are enjoying it. A lot of the dates were sold out. I mean, it was a great thing. But
Oh, God.
more Paul Young news.
Okay.
So he's going to have a rest for a few days. And then he is starting a US tour. Now, that US tour starts on Friday, the 13th of June.
I feel legally obligated to go see him now.
Yeah. He's going to be playing in Indiana. And it's actually part of a package tour called I Want My 80's Tour. So he's heading out around the USA this summer, and he's going to be joining Rick Springfield on this I Want My 80's tour, along with John Waite, Wang Chung, and John Cafferty. So it's like one of these package.
I can't hear Wang Chung without just thinking everybody go to Wang Chung tonight.
Yeah, it's I don't know how many songs they sing, but they will close with that one.
Fair enough. I mean, because everybody's got a Wing Chun tonight, Tim.
Absolutely. So he is, as I said, touring all over the United States. Now, if I look through the gig list, where does he come near here? Probably no. Well, closest he's going to be is at the Wolf Trap in Vienna, Virginia, which is like Northern Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
but that's
Okay.
about the closest place. He's also come to Youngstown, Ohio, Cincinnati, but nowhere really in this area, unfortunately. It's. I was hoping it was going to be at Elmwood Park in Roanoke because I would go and see that, and I'd say,
For
"Look,
sure.
there's Paul Young, alive and
I would have
well."
went with you, Tim. We could have stepped beside each other and be like, he's alive and well, everybody. Dang. I don't know why I thought he was dead. For some reason, I thought he died when everybody else died in like, what was that, like 2018? I don't know.
Yeah,
There's like a time frame into my defense, Tim. There was a time where we lost a lot of people very quickly.
absolutely. And luckily, Paul Young was not one of those people who we sadly lost at that time.
Because he's forever young, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this guy is a legend. He performed at Live Aid. He's had a number of chart hits. He's had a number of
Yeah.
musical projects he's been involved with. I
His
mean,
version of Radio Gaga is really good.
yeah, the Freddie Mercury tribute concert, in fact.
Yes, I watched that recently. I don't know why. I mean, I thought I was watching that from someone who was sick. I don't know, Tim. We're just going to move along from it, but thank you, Paul Young, for still being alive. Where would you like to go next?
Paul Young is on this 80's tour. The I Want My 80's tour, in fact, it's called. And I thought, do you know what? Let's do an episode that's strictly about music from the 80's. Now, a lot of the music we've spoken about, especially the stuff I've picked in my various themed episodes, have been 80's adjacent or 80's music because, the golden decade, that's what I recognize as good. But I thought, Joy has a exhaustive knowledge of music from this era. So I've picked out some songs from the 80's and I thought, well, maybe we can just pick out the songs and we can chat about them and we will see what goes on from there.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so the first song I picked out, and this is a classic, and this has been recently upscaled 4K on YouTube, and this is Whitney Houston, and I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Well, I always think about the Katy Perry version. You know what I'm talking about, Sam? When she was doing that concert tour where she was very much in her Candyland world and there was a lot of candies involved. But I really liked her version. I actually, if you've never heard Katy Perry's version of Want to Dance with Someone, I thought it was great. But that is not the most iconic cover of the song. The most iconic cover of the song is dun, 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 Glee.
Oh, well, of
that
course,
was going.
you have to bring Glee into absolutely every episode.
Tim has zero reference point for it, but I will convince him. Every Glee episode is amazing. So there was a Whitney 2.0 version, and basically it was right after Whitney Houston died. They did an episode attributing her. They did a 1.0 version where it was very Whitney light, and then the second episode was Whitney 2.0. They did a Britney kind of version of the two when Britney Spears versus Britney. Doesn't matter. And I don't think it was officially called Whitney 2.0, but that was the concept of it.
Yeah.
And in the song, they do an opening where it's like the most beautiful, because whether you like Glee or not, they were musicians, Tim. Like, they were very good musicians. And they did an opening, I can't think of what song it was, but it's beautiful. But in it, Santana, who sadly passed away way too young. For those who don't know the story of Naya Riviera, her story is actually they're all of the people in Glee. There's like so many weird lores around them, and people have died, and just there's a documentary on HBO that's like mind-boggling. But she passed away a few years back. She also did my favorite version of Nutbush City Limits, but I digress. She does a version, I Want to Dance with Someone. She was a very big dancer, Naya Riviera, and her voice was sultry, and she had powerhouse abilities, Tim, which like Leah Michelle did, but Leah Michelle was very Broadway. Naya Riviera had that soul, had that vibe to her voice that it works so well. And she did a version of I Want to Dance with Someone. And in this song, she was in a same-sex relationship, so there was a lot of innuendos about that. And they danced together, and it was just so good. And when I think about it, and they gave an ode to the video where she's wearing the silver dress and the hat, like the hairband and everything. And it was just the best honor. And so, and I think Whitney, now she didn't get to see it, sadly, I do think Whitney would have loved it. I absolutely adore that version for listeners. If you haven't gone and listened to it, Boys is perfect, dancing on part, and it really sells the kind of silliness and the funness. It's a fun song, and it kills it. So I spent a long time saying that. Like, if you haven't heard the Glee version, go listen to it.
There we are.
That was a very long-winded way to say that, but you know what I mean, Tim. Like, you have to give them those elements. It's just great. It's just great.
Absolutely.
And maybe I have some biases around Glee. It's like Tim with Knight Rider. All right, what's the next song, Tim?
Okay, the next song is a cover version, though most people do not know it's a cover version. And it's maybe a song that we may have touched on before, I don't know. This is Cyndi Lauper and the song Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
We have talked about it a little bit, and the original is weird because it's a man singing it and it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, when a woman is singing it, it makes sense. When it's a dude singing it, I'm just like a bit ugh.
It feels weird. And maybe that wasn't the intention, but like, don't tell me as a woman, don't tell me what I want to do. Just don't. Because I don't want to hear from you, Tim.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear from you. But I mean, it's still a great song. I don't know anybody who knows this. And I think that this is Cyndi Lauper is one of those artists that I just don't feel like I know that a lot of people love them, Tim, and she's like in We Are the World, and she's got that great sound. I just don't think she gets enough credit.
She doesn't, because she was Madonna before Madonna. And then at some point, Madonna completely eclipsed her at some point and became the absolutely massive international superstar. Whereas I think Cyndi Lauper, to some degree, got left behind, because if you look at stuff in a pre-Madonna being super famous world, Cyndi Lauper was the big singer of that time. And then soon as Madonna comes along and gets huge, it wasn't quite the same again for Cyndi Lauper.
And it is interesting that you say that, because the other thing about is she has won 3 out of the 4 major EGOT awards. So she has 2 Grammys, a Primetime Emmy, and a Tony. She is literally so close. If she just did anything, I think, in like, you know what I mean, actual to get an Oscar, she'd be an EGOT winner.
Yeah.
She wrote the entire Broadway musical, Kinky Boots, did all the music. Like, she's fantastic as a person. She's a good person. Tim says she's the reason we have modern day wrestling. I don't know what to tell y'all about that, but
that's completely true. We've covered this before. Without Cyndi Lauper, Hulk Hogan, and Vince McMahon, you would not. You needed those pieces.
We needed those pieces. And it's funny because when I was watching the documentary recently about this, like all the WWE, all the, you know, all the lore behind the McMahons and stuff like that. And she just pops up all the scrap and was like, oh, there she is, Tim.
Yeah. She put Captain Lou Albano in the Girls Just Want to Have Fun video, the song we're talking about. He was a huge wrestling manager at the time. This was at the time when MTV had just launched. And it's what they call the beginning of the Rock and Wrestling Connection, where they would be showing wrestling stuff on MTV. Captain Lou would be tying into MTV. The whole thing came together. And she was Wendy Richter's kayfabe manager at WrestleMania 1.
And I just think it's worth saying that, like, even if you don't like her music, like her pop music, look into the stuff she's done on Broadway and stuff. Just musically talented all around.
Oh, she's an activist. She's done so many good things.
She has, and she's worked very big in like a lot of Elton John's, like LGBTQ plus, different things. Elton John's also an EGOT winner, if anybody didn't know that. Whoopi Goldberg is too. That's the only 2 that I remember off the top of my head. But the point being is, I love this song, and I just think that she just doesn't get enough credit. I just don't feel she does.
I would agree with that.
So, Cyndi Lauper, if you're listening, we'll have you on the episode next week.
Absolutely. We'd be delighted. Well, in about 3 weeks' time, to be fair.
All right, fair enough. What's next?
So you couldn't have an 80s episode without speaking about this act. This is Wham from the album Make It Big, and this is the song Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
This song is almost okay. So, first of all, we have to talk about Glee.
Of course.
There's a Glee episode, and there's a Guilty Pleasures episode. Everybody gives out their guilty pleasures, and we got stuff from the Spice Girls to Barry Manilow, and of course, Wham comes out. And of course, it's Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. And, they're wearing their T-shirts with their very distinct, life or whatever it is.
Choose life, it says.
Yes. And they're all wearing, but what's funny is in the episode, they kind of choose like their own versions of that, Tim, and whatever it was in that moment. But it was viewed as a guilty pleasure in that episode, and I was like, I'm not really guilty. I don't know. With the amount of money they probably made off of that song, Tim, and it just being, I can't think of a song more that is like literally pop royalty than Wake Me Up Before You Go Go.
Yeah, I don't believe in the concept of guilty pleasures. I'm of the opinion when it comes to music and film and TV, you like what you like. I have listened to an album in the last couple of weeks, which is probably questionable. However, I enjoyed some of the songs.
I mean, Tim, we've been through this. One of the songs that come up on a thing that we did recently was a Paris Hilton song that I listened to. I don't know how you get any more into what would be defined as guilty pleasures than liking a Paris Hilton song. But I am generally considered, let's look at this. So when you look at the top songs of guilty pleasures, and I find this out, so I gave it a Goog. I find this very interesting because the songs on this tell me how much Glee has affected like the zeitgeist. Because you want to know who the number one guilty pleasures artist on that episode was? Want to be the Spice Girls.
Yeah, I mean
and I just don't think I just don't. I don't know. Am I wrong, Tim?
I don't consider liking a Spice Girls song a guilty pleasure. I really like the song "Who Do You Think You Are." That is a pop classic. It is really good, and I would listen. And I would listen to my favorite Van Halen song and that song next, and I'd enjoy them both.
The other thing is, for me, what's to feel guilty about? It's just a song.
Yeah,
like, it's not like I'm murdering someone or something.
It's because you're supposed to like something. Like if you're a metalhead and you like metal music, there's no way you'd listen to Club Tropicana by Wham.
Who cares?
But if you like it, you like it. What difference does it make?
So, given a Goog, I just find this interesting, saying how they've affected the zeitgeist. The number one guilty pleasure song is "Wannabe Spice Girls." The number 2 is "Party in the USA" Miley Cyrus. Number 3 is "Don't Stop Believing" Journey. Number 4 is "I Want It That Way" the Backstreet Boys. And number 5, "Wake Me Up Before You Go Go" Wham.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like that.
Also, Wham is just, I mean, I can never feel weird about, I just don't know anyone to be like, Wham's a bad band. You know what I mean? They're just not a bad band to me.
It's George Michael, for goodness sake.
Amazing singer, musically talented. Like, I don't get it. Yeah, I guess they did play into some form of 80's cliche, right? Bubblegum pop, whatever you want to call it, but still.
Sure.
I mean, they put out Careless Whisper. Come on, everybody. All right, what's our next 80's song, Tim?
Okay, so this is from the album Songs from the Big Chair. This would be Tears for Fears, and this is a song Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
What's interesting for me about Tears for Fears is I find them to be a one-hit wonder, but you have indicated they are not.
No, I mean they've had lots of hits. I mean, if I bring up this Spotify right now, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Shout, Head Over Heels, Mad World, Sowing the Seeds of Love.
The only other song that registers
Sowing the Seeds
of
Love. That was a great song of theirs. I mean,
is it just the American kind of versus what's popular in the UK thing? I don't know. But Tears for Fears, everybody. Tears for Fears. Well, I understand they're Itish. Oh my God, I quit. English pop rock. I don't know. Kurt Smith didn't really make it, I guess, in America. I don't know what to tell you.
Smith and Roland Osbald, I believe, is the other chap's name.
Osbald is his name? Okay, I'll take your word for it. But I mean, to be fair, they all came out at that role. I mean, Mad World, of course. But they're like a small snippet in like the kind of, I guess, the resonance of like a British invasion, right? Because we had that kind of thing that happened in the 90s. But I don't know that they like hit the way here that they did for people in the UK.
Yeah,
Just unlimited.
maybe it wasn't. Maybe they were just a very small splash in the pan, as it were, flash in the pan, even.
Fashion. Okay, words are hard, y'all. Don't judge.
It's Sunday night, for goodness sake.
With that being said, though, Mad World is probably the one that I would think is like my top, like Tears for Fears song, and then it's slowly followed by Everybody Wants to Rule the World. But Mad World is one of those songs that I think has been used in a lot of like cult classic '90s movies too. So
Well,
that is probably why it stands out.
there was a famous cover of Mad World by Gary Jules from the Donnie Darko soundtrack, which was really depressing and ended up being Christmas #1 in the UK. But
Was it really that pushed into
yeah,
the number one? Huh.
yes.
So Charlie is a huge Donnie Darko fan. My husband loves that movie. And so when I was dating him in very young ages, I remember us talking about the soundtrack to that one and Mad World big on there and then yeah. But it doesn't give it really doesn't give Christmas, so that's depressing.
No, but also in the UK, Killing in the Name of by Rage Against the Machine was a Christmas #1 as
Yeah,
well.
but wasn't that more of a protest thing?
It was, yes. That was a protest opportunity.
That's a different story. Anyway, all right. What's your next 80s song, Tim?
Okay, so this is an absolute favorite. This is a classic that was probably spoiled by Tenacious D in their Masterworks DVD. This is Survivor, and this is Eye of the Tiger.
Also, it's just been spoiled in the sense that it's been used 74,000 times in every major way possible. The other thing is, though, is like, I still weirdly like to hear it, as dumb as that sounds. I do like to hear it. As much as it's a cliche and been used in like everything since the beginning of time, Rocky, etc., etc. I do like the song.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great song. I mean, I would not be offended to hear it. I mean, there's not many other Survivor hits, really. I think they're pretty much probably a one-hit wonder. I mean, then they had some other songs, but you ask the average person about Survivor, they're going to say Eye of the Tiger. But I'm sure they made enough money from that one song so they didn't have to worry about having any more hits.
I wonder why, though, if we look at it logistically, he says it's the eye of the tiger, it's the fear of the fight, blah, 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 right? Insert every other cliche you've ever heard about boxing someone or whatever it is. Are tigers' eyes notoriously known to be intense? Is that like
Yeah.
a thing?
Have you never seen like a tiger's eye?
I mean, I've seen pictures of tigers, but I don't think I've really stared into their eyes.
Tigers even have fake eyes on the back of their ears. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. And there's a few other animals. I don't know. I just never really wondered if, like, I guess I've never really given this much thought. Maybe I need to
It's
do more
because
tiger
when they're
research.
drinking or eating, if a predator comes up behind them, they see the eyes on the back of their ears and assume they're being watched.
Well, and that's where matrixing comes in. And for somebody who's screaming, what do you mean by that? So I don't mean Matrix the movie. I mean matrixing. There is a thing in humans and animals and anything with really who are developing over time. When we see anything, Tim, you know how we naturally see a face in something, right? You look at a car and the headlights look like eyes and it's got a little smiley. We've all seen it. That's because we're matrixing. The matrixing in that sense is that we are putting patterns in these situations because of our ancestors who were fighting tigers in the woods, right, Tim? And we would want to see facial expressions.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, and we're now fighting a 2020 Nissan Altima.
Yes, it's true. They have and that's why I always find it funny when you get the cars with they put the fake lashes on there, what I'm talking about, Tim? I'm like, you guys are just playing into it, y'all. But it is interesting because when you see anything, everybody, I could probably look around my room right now, Tim, and I can see a face at anything. And it's our natural ability to do that. And if you don't believe in evolution, I don't know what to tell you.
There we go. That's a conversation for another podcast, Joy.
But that is part of it. So, I mean, it makes complete sense, but I guess I've never really paid attention to how intense an tiger is. Tiger's eye? I guess I need to do that. Also, I don't plan on fighting any tigers soon, so maybe not.
No, maybe just a car or something with its eyes.
Or just when you turn the lights off at night and you think you see something,
There we are.
All right, what's your next song, Tim?
Okay, the next song is by The Romantics. And this is a song, Talking in Your Sleep. Now, I get this sense that this was a bigger hit in the United States than it was in the UK because the first band I played, or second band technically, that I played here was Whiskey River. And Talking in Your Sleep was in their set, and it used to go down very well. And I had a knowledge of the song, but I don't really remember it ever being a UK hit. I do know that the UK band Bucks Fizz covered it, but the original, I don't know whether it was so much of a UK hit as compared to the United States.
Well, I think part of that probably plays into something we talked about on this podcast before is MTV. The music video for this song was aired on MTV quite a bit. So we're probably talking early 80s, right? Talking in Your Sleep is probably an early 80s song. I don't quote me on that, but that seems right. And so when we talk about MTV, we're mostly alluding to early 90s. But a lot of the songs that were played in the early not in the early 90s were music videos. Like I've talked about like different music, and I don't even know, maybe in the 80s, but I don't think MTV hit its, like, you know what I mean, like it's huge till early 90s. But you've got all these different bands, so a lot of them were in fact bands from the UK, because you, like Tim's talked about Top of the Pops, they had a really nice music video thing. But for whatever reason, this song specifically, when I was doing my MTV kind of episode, we talked about this was one. I don't even remember the music video. I've definitely heard the song Talking in Your Sleep a million times, so I know it was 100% a huge hit in the US. You could probably turn on 99.1, which is our local, you know what I mean, Tim radio station, it'd be playing right now. So I think you're absolutely right on that, but I can't tell you why, because honestly, I would really think this song could have easily been picked up in the UK world, because it does have that kind of I mean, the Romantics, no joy, the Romantics, almost said, kind of have that new age, new wave, 90s, 80s pop thing that was going on that you see in a lot of other bands that kind of, I think, across the pond were popular. So it's surprising to me. I honestly didn't know that until you said that this was it. I would have thought the opposite. I would have almost thought this would have been a bigger hit in the UK.
I mean, not to my knowledge. I was around at that time, and I don't remember that being a hit, like unlike the other ones that we've spoken of today.
But listening to the song now, do you see what I'm saying? How I could, in fact, think that that would be a hit in the UK?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like it just has that vibe about it. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think new wave kind of sounded well in the UK.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't come for me, internet. I'm not there. I live in America, obviously.
So do I.
Yay! We have a lot to say about that, but that's a debate. That's another podcast. What's that?
Okay. So this was a classic. This was a huge hit everywhere. This is Men at Work, and this is the song Down Under.
So, first of all, it was a huge hit everywhere. But if you know anything about Joy's House, this is a song. My husband has an obsession with almost everything Men at Work. There's a lot of songs that have played in my house that most people would not know, from the Business as Usual album, because Charlie loves that album. We've heard it many times. And I've never watched this music video, but I think it is iconic. Tim, have you watched the music video for this? I've heard things about this
many times. It was on Top of the Pops. It was on MTV.
I feel like this is a British thing that you guys would have been watching. Is there a cross-dressing element to it? Am I correct?
I can't remember.
I think it's very not dissimilar to Radio Gaga.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Don't cover me, internet.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen it, to be fair.
To be fair, I mean, in America, when we think of Men at Work, the first thing that comes under is Down Under, of course. And then it's probably, it's probably Down Under. And then Who Could It Be Now? I don't know. That would probably be the other thing I could think of. But I've definitely heard that this, the music video to this is iconic, but I can't really place it. But Charlie really does like this album. And he's convinced, I mean, he also does really love A Flock of Seagulls, so maybe he just has a thing about Australian-based music. I don't know. He wanted to do A Flock of Seagulls hair for the longest time, Tim, but he could never pull it off. He tried really hard to make that a thing for a while. He really should get into Toto more, too. It all fits the vibe.
Well, the good news is he's not into 80s wrestling, in which case he would be growing a mullet.
Yeah, I don't think I would stay. I think I'd be out. And to be fair, I actually don't know. Are Men at Work from Australia, or is the song just happened to be about Australia?
No,
I don't
they are
know.
very definitely an Australian
Oh,
band. There's a line that said, I said, do you speak of my language? And she just smiled and handed me a Vegemite sandwich. Vegemite being very similar to Marmite, if you've ever
I,
had Marmite.
I have. Tim, have you eaten Vegemite and Marmite?
I've actually had both.
How did you feel about it?
I'm not. Well, you think that they did an advertising campaign for Marmite saying you either
Hmm.
love it or you hate it. It's like a multi spread. I'm
Yeah.
actually take it or leave it with Marmite. I like Twizzlers. They made like a snack which is like Marmite flavored, which are actually really good. Phil Reese very kindly sent me some of those. That was delicious. But Marmite as a spread, which is very similar to Vegemite, I'm take it or leave it.
I'm not. So I tend to be the kind of person who could eat things that I feel like some people find strange. Like I love kimchi and fermented foods or very like salty foods. You know what I mean, Tim?
Hmm.
I can actually eat Vegemite and I've ate Marmite and I wasn't bothered by it. I wouldn't really go out of my way to eat it, but I wasn't grossed out in the way that you see YouTube videos. You know what I mean? Tim, of people freaking out. It didn't bother me that bad, but I'm not going to go eat it. The one that does bother me more is the fairy toast. Do you know what fairy toast is?
No.
So in Australia, they make fairy toast and it's butter with sprinkles on it. And that's it. And that I can't do it, Tim.
See, I would not like that because I don't like mixing butter necessarily with sweet things. Now, I know that if you make a cake, you would, or
There's butter in
pancakes,
it, of
there's sweet
course.
butter in it, of course. But I do not like for example, pancakes,
Hmm?
pancakes and waffles. Putting butter and syrup is a big no-no for me.
Butter is deserved on waffles, Tim. We've been through this before. Maybe not
No,
pancakes, but waffles deserve butter.
no. I went to
The
Cracker
French would
Barrel.
disagree.
I went to Cracker Barrel last week, and I do like the pancakes that they make in there. I had a delicious pancake, and it cut the big stack of them, and it came out with a big knob of nasty butter on it.
Had to
And the
wipe it
first thing
right
I did
off.
was get rid of that.
I will say I don't need it. Does that make sense, Tim? Like I don't need it to eat the pancake or the waffle, but I don't hate it. And to be fair, I do prefer it in like savory things. So for those who don't know me, I have this weird obsession with learning something like to a T. And recently, the thing that so for example, so you guys can understand what I'm saying. When I was a child, I spent a whole summer learning to deal cards like I was a like in Vegas. Like I was killing it. Like I can flip cards. I can like right now if Tim put a set of cards in front of me, I'd probably blow his mind because I spent a whole summer learning this. I spent another summer learning how to hula hoop. Just weird things that I did as a kid. So I still hold this to true as an adult. I don't know what it is. But I will dedicate myself to learning craft. And you know what my most recent craft I've learned is? How to make a very good omelet, like a French omelet. I have dedicated my life to learning how to make the thin, really nice French omelet, like an omelet du fromage. We do some cheese in there. And I have been doing this for the last 6 weeks, Tim, and I have dedicated my life to learning that omelet. But I will say, I prefer, and this is where the butter kept, I realized that was a very long story to get to why butter matters, y'all. But I prefer butter in the application of like an omelet over like a waffle. That was where I was going with that, and I realized that that was a lot. Tim just looked at me and started laughing like they expect nothing less from you, Joy. But Tim, I mean, does that surprise you with what you know about me as a
No, not in the
human?
slightest. You'll be not be surprised to learn that I have no knowledge of food preparations.
I would not be surprised at all. For those who don't know this, actually, the first time I met Tim, I kind of was mean to him because he said something about not knowing how to use the microwave. And I was like, what do you mean? And now I realize that Tim did mean that, and he did not know how to use the microwave. And I may have insulted him in that moment, but we have come a long way.
We have indeed, and I've since figured out the microwave. I think I'm fine with the microwave. It's just oven things. I'm not. I don't really want to get involved in them.
I mean, that's fair. It was just funny because, oh, Phil Reese, speaking of things in the kitchen that we have discussed on this podcast, Phil Reese, who had sent Tim those lovely Twizzlers we were just discussing, he has confirmed that if you use the fairy dish soap, you do in fact rinse it off. Everybody. He says
Okay.
in his household they rinse it off, Tim.
There we are. Well, most US homes have a dishwasher, so you don't have to do that.
But there was a debate on apparently on the TikToks if British people were rinsing off their soap, and then I wondered if it tasted like soap and why they wouldn't rinse it off. And he has confirmed that at least every person he knows does in fact rinse it off. So there you go.
There we are. Well, the box in the kitchen that you put all that stuff in does it for me.
That's not related. All right, Tim, what's your next 80s song?
Okay, this would be the Human League, and this is their iconic song, "Don't You Want Me?"
Baby.
Yeah.
No one got that. Okay, well, I don't know. That was a dumb joke. But I can't hear "Don't You Want Me, Baby." Like, that's all I hear. I mean, great song. Human League's one of those interesting bands that, like, I feel like people know they exist, but do they know who's singing the songs behind them? I'm not sure.
Probably not, and I think they're known as a one-hit wonder in the US.
Yeah, for sure. Were they not in other places?
Absolutely not. No,
Oh,
in the UK they had lots of hits.
like,
Love Action, Mirror Mirror, The Lebanon, Human.
absolutely not. I don't know any of those words. Seems like you're speaking Spanish, to be honest. I mean, they're definitely from the UK as a band. I know they're from England. And so I just want to clarify, when we say the UK, I know there's some, you know what I mean, political turmoil about that. But me and Tim are mostly speaking from the UK of like people who grew up in the 90s
Yeah.
and the 80s. So take it with a grain of salt. Don't come for us, internet boys. But yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know any other song besides "Don't You Want Me, Baby." And I just say "baby" sarcastically because that's all I hear when I hear the song. But yeah, I wouldn't know. But what's interesting, I do know about the Human League and has stood out to me is there's two women in the band.
Yes.
And I don't know a lot of other like synth pop, new wave kind of bands where they were more female dominated. So that was cool.
Yeah, and they said they were incredibly popular for a reasonable amount of time. I mean, but that song is iconic. I mean, it's a real 80's classic hit.
Well, and also they probably made enough money off of that song because it's been used in so many movies now, Tim.
Oh, of course.
Like, think about it. Don't you want me, baby? That's probably, you know how easy that would be able to be played into TV shows, be played into movies, be played into anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, they probably have made enough royalties off of that they never need to put another song out.
Yeah, unless they just want to because they're artists.
I mean, that's a debate for another time. All right. Do you have any other 80s songs you'd like to tell the people about?
Absolutely. We've got time for a few more.
All right, let's go.
This is Dead or Alive, and this is the song "You Spin Me Round Like a Record, Baby."
Now, this song is so interesting because it has been sampled about a million times.
Yeah, Flo Rida famously sort of redid it, basically.
He did, but that song was great. But I also think there was another one where they, like, I feel like it was sampled in, like, hold on, there was another song. I'm going on the gooks. There's another one. I love the Flow Rider song about y'all. Actually, I do. Don't judge me. We do not have guilty pleasures around here. Joy likes Flow Rider occasionally. Also, I find it funny when people realize Flow Rider just means Florida.
Yeah.
Like, it's always hold on. I'm gonna do it. You spin me. I'm Googling it. Remake cover. Oh yeah. There's quite a few actually. Apparently it's been sampled 12 times, Tim. Now, does anyone know any of these songs? They don't. So maybe I'm just hearing the Florida version and think that it's been sampled. But it is a song that has like a really cool sound, and I can easily see you wanting to implement it into basically anything.
Absolutely.
Also, like, my other thing is that, I mean, I would be like, if I were an artist, Sam, I'd be like, yeah, cover it. Just pay me royalties. I wouldn't even care what they put it in. I just want to keep making money off my song.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, the singer Pete Burns is no longer with us, the guy
Of course,
who
yeah.
sang that song. But I'm sure that during his lifetime, he probably did very well from that song and associated royalties.
Well, and like his estate, you know what I mean? Like you have to think about that later. You have kids, the money might be able to go to them. You have, family members, whatever. I would just be like, I mean, yes, I probably would want to hear whatever song you're putting my sample into, just to make sure it's not like, you know, something bad, like saying mean things or doing bad things or treating people unwell. But outside, I'd be like, yeah, go for it. I wouldn't care if it was country. I wouldn't care if it was pop. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Dude, am I wrong, Tim? Would you really care that much?
Well, the royalties will be coming in, and I'm sure you'd be fine about that.
What have we said many times over of these bands who say they'll never play together, Tim? And then when the money flows, it's like, whatever. Don't get your moral concept. That's kind of why I always say that Kiss deserves more credit. Kiss knows exactly who they are, Tim, and they say it. And I respect that more than if you hide behind it.
Yeah, they're a money-making operation first and foremost, and a band after that.
Just say it. That's what people want to hear. We just don't like when you're not transparent about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a joke. Anytime you see Gene Simmons doing anything, like there was a video recently where he met with a sick child who was a big Kiss fan, and I think the kid was very sick in his hospital bed. He had Kiss posters up, and Gene Simmons did a Make-A-Wish thing to visit him, and then all the comments were, how much did Gene charge for that?
Who cares?
No, but I mean, he didn't. But it's just that is the perception of Gene Simmons, is that every action he does is a monetary transaction.
I mean, to be fair, he did set himself up for that.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, who cares in the sense that, like, I mean, yes, maybe he did charge for it. Probably not. Tim's probably right. He didn't charge anything for it. If it was a Make-A-Wish thing, no. He's cold when it comes to cash, but he's not charging the family of a dying child for a personal appearance. But to be fair, I would rather people think that of me than just to lie about it. You know what I mean, Tim? I mean that truly. I would just be like, this is who I am. I'm in it for the money. And that doesn't mean that they're not good musicians. I just want everybody to take that from me. And to be honest, it's something to be said about a lot of the other people who, I mean, look at the Spice Girls, Tim. They had literal Barbie dolls made after them, right? And like all the different things that come from being a musician.
Yeah.
And to say that's not a money-making machine is absolutely stupid. And that's why when people take the Spice World movie too seriously, I laugh at them. Because as a Spice Girl aficionado, we're going to get into this because I do have a lot of thoughts about this. I find it funny when people watch it and they take it seriously, Tim. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you do realize the whole movie is making fun of the Spice World and the Spice monopoly that came with it and the drama, right? Sure. And it's like they don't get the satire. And maybe, Tim, maybe it's British humor lost on Americans. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know if you guys know this, but the Spice Girls were from England.
So I understand. I've heard that rumor.
But do you know what I mean, Tim? Like, do you ever wonder when you watch stuff like that if people are just taking it too seriously?
I think so. I think the Spice Girls film has a cheekiness about it. Now, are you aware of a UK film series called the Carry On films?
Yes, I am.
Okay. There's Carry On Up the Khyber, Carry On Nurse, Carry On Camping, Carry On. And it was all like double meaning, cheeky humor. And it always had the same characters in it for the most part. And I think the Spice World, the movie, has that same kind of feel about it.
It does. Well, you know, what's funny you say that, Tim, is at one point when she's supposed to jump the bridge, you know what I mean, on the bus, it literally is a car. It's like a you know, the British, like the bus you had in your office, like the little like double-decker bus.
Red double-decker bus.
And it was like, but it was like the one you get at, like as a kid, like, you know what I mean? And that jumps the bridge. Like in the movie, that's how they do it. Like,
to make it look funny.
At one point in time, they go to pee in the woods because they've been touring and they can't get to a rest stop, and aliens come up to them. Do you guys really think that they legitimately, and the aliens knew who the Spice Girls were? Because the whole point of the movie is they're taking over the world, right? The Spice Girls taking over the world. And I'm like, I don't know why I said that in Donald Trump's voice, but not related. Spice Girls are taking over the world. But anyway, like, it just cracks me up when people see that and they take it as a serious movie. I'm like, you guys can't be serious. Like
Yeah.
how can you see that she goes to press her foot down in her platform Spice World boots and a literal fake little double
A
decker
little
bus
bus. Yeah, yeah.
jumps it, and I'm just like, is the humor lost on Americans, or is everybody just overthinking it? I don't know.
I think there is some cultural divide with the humor. But yes, I think you're probably right.
And also, just stop taking everything so seriously, y'all.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Also, don't just. Also, the Spice Girls deserve everything they've ever gotten. And if you guys do not see that, well, we just can't be friends. Thank you. Move along.
Absolutely. Okay, well let's do we can probably
Two,
time for
three.
a couple more.
All
Couple
right,
two,
let's
two or
do
three
this.
more. Okay, so this is a 80s classic. This is a song I've played. I played this song in Rough Justice. This is a fabulous song. The singer is Joey Tempest. This is the band Europe, and this is the final countdown.
So I always have such an interesting thing about this because this is one of those songs that obviously if you know it, right, Tim?
Yeah.
But I don't know that it was as popular in the US like initially, and then it kind of got like a resurgence. And I don't know why, like in the 90s, I think it became like almost comical, kind of like I made the joke about the Spice World movie, but like it's almost made fun of at this point, right? And used in like satire more than I think it was a popular song.
Yeah, in England it was absolutely huge, and it has the cultural cachet that maybe a rock covers band in the mid to early 2000s would cover it, and it would go over really well.
I mean, it's fantastic, but I feel like in the US, it's almost more of like it's just used in funny bits more than is known as like a rock classic, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely, I can see where you're coming from with that.
And so, but I also don't know if you ever said, it's the final countdown. I don't know anybody who doesn't know that.
Yeah,
It's so good. It's also a very interesting song to write. As I've said, I'm not a songwriter, but to write a song like that, like I don't even know where you would start to get the idea to write that song, but it's so perfect. And they set themselves up for so much success to be able to use in like these like cultural moments, right, Tim? Like even when you're making a joke, like it's kind of like another one bites the dust. You know, you make a joke about people can't keep getting fired of my work. Another one bites the dust, right? And then everybody wants to sing the song.
Sure.
But like the final countdown in and of it, I hope people aren't getting fired at your work, guys. That was a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. I feel like that song has that kind of relevance to it in America that like it just used in those ways. Or, you know, it's your last day at work, or you're running for election, or the president's being elected, and like it's the final countdown. Like, I don't know. But it has such a cool sound, and I imagine playing it is really fun too for that reason.
it was absolutely fantastic, and the other guitar player in the band, Mike the Stoner, he worked out all the parts. It was fantastic.
Is it a hard song to play? I've never really listened to it, like from a musician's perspective.
I mean, it's got a few chord patterns, but I mean, it's not progressive rock. Let's put it that way.
If you were to say, Tim, let's just throw this out there. If you were going to look back over your entire music career, think hard about this. What would you say was probably one of the hardest songs for you to pick up on the guitar?
I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean,
That sounds so unhumble.
it does, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. A lot of these rock songs that you end up playing, and most of the
They're
songs I
very
play are rock
similar.
or country, the patterns in them are very straightforward.
That makes sense. Only ones that I struggle with from a singing perspective is the ones that, like, a good example that I would struggle with musically is someone like Blondie, where the rhythm and the pattern of the singing don't match the music, Tim. And I don't know if does that make sense to you as a musician?
Sure.
So think about like any Blondie song or Heart. Heart's another. Well, also just the range of singing with Heart is like. But it's when there's like a lot of, and I don't even know if it's like, I don't want to say it's key changes because that's what everybody wants to blame everything, but it's not. It's like Blondie has this ability to sing in a time measure with the music that doesn't match what you hear in other pop songs or other rock songs. And those are the ones I struggle with. I
Sure.
hope that makes sense to anybody listening. And I can't give you specific examples, but if you like think about those type of songs, those are the ones that I personally struggle with when I try to sing them or when I try to like put them out there. Like I struggle with that ability for the timing of it, which makes complete sense if you heard how bad of a drummer I was. It all comes full circle. I have zero ability. Like if it's past maybe like a 4 or 6 count, I'm out. But it's also like, so like, even if it is, the song is a 4 count, Tim, but when they start singing, it comes in at a weird part in the measure. That is a struggle for me because I have a hard time comprehending that. And I think part of this, because like, think about like the Beatles music. It's very, I'd say that's very, like you were saying, measured in the same thing over and over and over again. So when someone does something like that, that throws that off, that's hard.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, from a guitarist perspective, for the most part, you're following the drums, you're following the bass. But yeah, with the singing, you're a little bit more all in and around the beat and what have you.
And it's also just like hitting especially from a cover band's perspective. I think it's a little bit different if you were singing like your own music, but like if you're, singing like "Call me on a line, call me anytime," you want to hit those with what people know, right, Tim? They're listening to a cover band. They want to hear it to the point of what they hear on the record, and she has like. I don't know how she does it, Tim. And maybe I'm the only person who think Blondie is a very underrated artist, but she has like this ability to do singing in a way that I just don't think is it's very easy to be copied.
Sure.
Debbie Harry, sorry. But also she was also almost kidnapped by a serial killer once. We talked about that too.
Yeah, we covered that on a previous episode.
And that's not a joke. Go look it up, everybody. I say Blondie knowing that's the band name and not her name, but that's the first band that comes to mind when I think of it. I also think about Boston is another one. And I also think about Heart.
Okay.
I just don't think anybody should cover Heart, Tim.
No,
and I stand by that.
Those songs are so iconic, and the Wilson sisters are so good at everything they do. It's very hard to even equal it.
And like, I know everybody's like, "Oh, nobody should like do Michael or Jackson." Or something. To be honest, there's a few Michael Jackson songs anybody could sing, but Heart, like I don't know. I just like stay away. And then Journey is one that I think it's 50-50, Tim, if they should or shouldn't go for it, because I've seen many local cover bands who think they can sing Journey.
Like I said a couple of bands ago, the singer in that band, we all had to use detuner pedals and take it down 4 steps, and it sounded terrible.
Why would you even bother at that point? Just change the damn song.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tim, cut that out. I said a bad word.
You are fine, Joy. You are fine.
All right. What's our next one?
Okay, so I think we'll close the episode with this one, our music from the 80s episode.
Okay.
And this is a song which I really like, Hannah really likes, and it always makes me think of like great 80s music.
Okay.
This is Matthew Wilder, and this is Break My Stride.
Ain't nothing gonna break my stride. And I don't know. I mean, it's a great song. I see why you guys love it. Also, it's one of those songs that like the tempo of it, I think, makes the song.
Yes.
Which makes sense because, like, if you're running in your stride, it's kind of like St. Elmo's Fire. Actually, wait, ain't nothing. Is St. Elmo's Fire and Break My Stride not dissimilar? I don't think they are. When you get to like not the grandiose parts, but like that kind of breakdown towards, you know what I'm talking about, Tim? Because like St. Elmo's Fire is also used, I think, a lot in like kind of like Eye of the Tiger, like in very like sportsy montages or whatever.
Sure.
I see how that could fit. I see how that could fit. Good song choice, though. And it's not one that I think about often, but if you definitely went into a CVS right now, it would be playing. So we know that it's on my playlist.
Yeah, it's got joy written all over it.
And actually, if anybody called me when they were writing it before I was born, I told them to write the song so I could hear it in a CVS in 2025.
Absolutely.
That definitely happened, Tim. What year did that song come out? Because I have no idea. It's probably before my birth.
It probably was. That where it break my stride.
Well, if it was in the 80s, it definitely was. I was born in 90.
It was released in August 1983, way before your time, Joy.
That is the same year my older sister was born. Stephanie was born in 1983.
There we
She
are.
was. And what's very interesting about my family is Stephanie was born exactly 7 years before I was born and my twin sister was born. Sorry, Brainy, I almost left you out. And then we were born 7 years before my nephew was born.
There we go. Would you look at that?
I don't know what that means to anyone or anything, but it could mean something. It's just a weird thing. And the other thing is what's nice is where I was born in 90, it's really easy to keep up with my age because it falls in line with the years. So as I get older, I never have to worry about forgetting my age. But Tim, have you ever forgotten your age? Because I definitely have.
Yeah, 100%. Not recently, because I've been very aware of my age because I had a big birthday recently. But yes, in the past, it's like, am I 44 or 45? It's like you think about that.
Yes, I'm at the time where I'm like, am I 34 or am I? And what's so funny is because I will be 35 next month, right? And Charlie is 2 years older than me, but only for a month out of the, or 2 months out of the year, because his birthday's in May. So from May and June, he's 2 years older than me. But then when we hit July, he's only a year older than me. So that even throws my brain into like, I'm always thinking about that too. So I'm like, but it's like today I was filling out some paperwork. And it was like kind of asking me a little bit about my past. And I was like, oh, that only happened 2-3 years ago, like 2017. Tim, it's 2025. I said 2017 was 2 to 3 years ago.
I mean, using my logic, it was about 6 months ago.
Good. Well, we're on the same page. You're more than I. All right. Well, I guess, Tim. So this is our last episode before we get a little bit of a break. And I will take this time to tell you guys, it has not come out yet, but Joy has a lot of things happening in her life right now. And she may, in fact, be running for a local election in our area. So
Absolutely. So we wish Joy the absolute best with that.
And if you live in Bradford City, vote for me. With that being said, I thank you. And what would you like to leave the people with, Tim?
Just as ever, just be kind to everyone that you meet.
I agree. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
To remind me of another day to